Hello everybody and welcome back to the Fortress of Solitude. Today we're going to be talking about Captain America issue 13, written by Chip Zdarsky, with art by Ton Lima, colors by Romulo Fajardo Jr. and letters by Joe Caramagna. Steve Rogers' time in hell gets hotter as back on Earth, Spider-Man comes by to visit Steve, caught by Sharon at gunpoint trying to sneak in via the window. Spider-Man knew that she was not going to shoot thanks to his spider sense, so despite what Sharon might say, she didn't get the drop on the world famous Spider-Man. He apologizes for not using the door since some hospital staff don't really think kindly of him as a hero. Peter finally sees Steve, thinking that it's a lot worse than he thought, but Sharon tells him that he's stable, but Steve's body is still resisting the medication. Peter knows it's because of the super soldier serum, which surprises Sharon that he would know that. Man, this take on Spider-Man just feels like a warm hug. It just feels like Spider-Man, more so than what we've been seeing over in his ongoing. Zdarsky just knows how to write him in a really relaxed and relatable way, which is what Spider-Man should be. I am surprised that Zdarsky is allowed to keep writing him after having to get him out of Avengers Armageddon. I suppose this is okay since, technically it's in New York or at least Washington, so he can stop by whenever he wants. He's still on Earth. He's not doing big Avengers stuff. Sharon knows that Steve will pull through since he's the best of them. Peter can see that she is tired, telling her to go home and grab some sleep since he's going to stay and watch over Steve. Sharon agrees, giving Steve a kiss and leaving. Spider-Man hopes that he won't have to do anything like that as he sits down, taking his mask off and telling Cap that things have gotten a little crazy. Down in hell, Mephisto tells Red Skull and Frenza that they are to bring Steve Rogers and Victor Von Doom to him alive. Red Skull, though, hates being paired with someone else, but will allow it since, as he creepily puts it, the woman smells pure. Man, I'm really loving Zdarsky's take on Red Skull. He's gross, sleazy, and just an all-round terrible dude. And of course he is, he's a fucking Nazi. Frenza calls him a Nazi pig, grabbing him by the throat and wanting to keep him at a distance, but Skrull loves the fight, thinking that she would have thrived under his command. Mephisto is glad with the infighting since it will make the game interesting, and he tells them the first to bring him the souls of Steve and Victor will be rewarded with a boon. Skull doesn't plan on doing Mephisto's bidding though, since he isn't anyone's lackey and the devil made some deal to put him there in hell. He reveals that he and his people were meant to be rewarded greatly in the afterlife in heaven, and he doesn't know what Mephisto did to make their souls appear in hell, but he will get revenge for it. Mephisto is a little giddy at the thought of Red Skull coming for him, finding him and his Nazi ilk are just so delusional to think that they were ever getting into heaven, and they always let their grievances distract them while their enemies get a head start. Frenza takes advantage of Red Skull's outburst and takes off after her targets, leaving Skull to play catch up. I love that even the devil is like, nah, you're a Nazi, you're delusional losers who are fools for thinking you're some sort of super race who are owed everything. It's great to see even the devil has standards when it comes to people like this. Out in hell, some demons hunt down Torvos, savoring the hunt as they catch the being. Before they kill the preacher, Torvos says that he has made right with himself and his followers will continue his work. Steve and his team arrive, attacking the demons and driving them away, but Victor kills one of them as they flee, something Steve is not happy with since they used to be people, and killing them in hell means they are gone forever. Doom doesn't care since in a war he doesn't take prisoners. Veritok reminds Steve that they will convert as many as they can, but some demons are far too gone. I can see this being Steve's mission beyond stopping Mephisto and getting out of hell. He wants to try and save the demons since really that's like the ultimate heroic act, saving someone from hell and from their fate and making them free of their sin. Terry goes and helps Torvos up, and the being takes note of Steve, finding that he shines like a beacon and the prophecies of a messiah to lead them out of the fire pits must be true. Steve of course doesn't see himself as some sort of messiah, just some guy who's there to help, but Torvos is convinced that Steve is the messiah and his congregation will be as well, wanting to head to the Midland fires before the demons return. Steve finds him intense, but Terry thinks that he'll work in their favor since the more intense the preacher is, the more souls they'll convert to their army. So I can see this being a problem for both Doom and Steve, but mostly Doom since, Veritok wants to be the new ruler of hell, Doom wants her to be the new ruler of hell, and now you have this guy coming in and proclaiming that Steve is like the messiah and probably the ruler, or they themselves want to be the ruler. So it's like another party has come in to sort of put a dampener on Doom's mission, and it's probably going to lead to some friction between Doom and Steve. Back on Earth, Peter keeps watch over Steve's comatose body, telling him that everyone is mad about what Red Hulk did to him, and now the Avengers are heading to Europe to bring him to justice, including some superpowered guy who claimed to once be Captain America. Peter becomes frustrated since he is unsure what the Avengers are meant to be now, since avenging doesn't feel right, since nothing good comes from going after someone out of anger. He knows that Steve would lead them in to help, not having help be a byproduct of their avenging. I really do love what Zdarsky is doing with Peter in his arc through Avengers Armageddon, taking him away from the team and making him a rational voice in all of this, the one questioning if avenging should be done in anger or what even should it be to the Avengers. It's really making a meal out of something I assumed was a editorial mandate where Peter was unable to leave New York due to whatever's going on over in his own book getting in the way. Peter tells Steve that he didn't join the Avengers this time round since going global feels way out of his pay grade. See, this I just do not buy at all. Not after everything we've seen Peter do over the many decades of his comics. Hell, even in his ongoing recently, he went to space, hung out with the Guardians, and got an alien girlfriend who is now living on Earth with him. So it's a little ridiculous to keep saying that, he doesn't get involved in like the big events because he's just a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Again, it just feels like something that's an editorial mandate for now. Peter wants Cap back so he can show them the way, as in Hell, Steve feels like they have been walking for weeks, and he thinks about Torvos and what he was saying and how he feels like the man is genuine, but he refuses to be roped into his big Messiah story as they head for the man's secret camp, where his followers welcome him with open arms. Torvos immediately launches into a sermon telling people that the prophecies are true and they'll be guided out of torment by Steve. Steve begins wondering if he's doing the right thing since God put the souls in hell to be tortured, but he also believes that God put him there to help. Victor comes to see Steve, wondering if he doesn't want to listen to Torvos preach about Steve being the Messiah, but Steve is not interested since he believes it's all about Torvos' ego and he actually wants the rule. Steve is more interested in Victor, asking him if he's thought that he would make the world a better place if he took the world over, since he also took people's freedoms in the process. Doom has no regrets and he completely believes what he did was justified, since he is the only one who can rule the planet, as the world leaders have proven that they are a threat to mankind and democracy. Doom does believe that what is happening in hell is not right, and he has been a god before, and he would not allow something like this to happen, even on his worst day. And Mephisto must be outed and Veritok must be put in his place. Steve believes that it won't be a democratic vote, and Doom admits the creatures of hell are incapable of democracy. The best they can hope for is a gentler hand, which is what Veritok will be. Doom 100% wants to rule hell through Veritok, like it feels way too obvious, and why I think Torvos and his plans to paint Steve as a messiah and to kind of get his own power through Steve will put a wrench in Doom's plan, and they'll have to sort that out sooner rather than later. It's great seeing Steve just trying to figure out Victor and why he truly believes he should have been the ruler of Earth. And I love that Victor it's such a simple thing with Victor. It's like, I believe I am the best ever. And he truly believes that, which is why he's able to do what he does. And it's one of the things I really like about Dr. Doom, where he is so sure of like what he is and what he wants. There isn't any room for him to doubt himself. And I really like that in the villain. He's a fantastic villain. Victor knows that there is one concern, and that is Torvos. And Steve knows all about it as Torvos comes by, again showering Steve with praise, believing that he is the Messiah truly. Steve doesn't buy into it since he's just a man willing to fight for what is right, but again Torvos believes that this is what the Messiah wants and his flock will be the beginning of his army. But to really defeat Mephisto, Steve is going to need a weapon. Red Skull meanwhile scouts the Hellfire lands atop his skeleton dragon Cortez, assuring the dragon that his competition will find Steve before him and be promptly defeated, leaving Mephisto open to attack, which is when Red Skull plans on striking, telling the dragon that he needs to have a plan and some patience. Red Skull heads to a nearby cliff face and meets with his army of Nazi hell monsters, happy to have some dear old friends with him when he takes over hell. So we're kind of on the verge of Game of Thrones level backstabbing here. Political power moves and all whatnot are all happening through all these 4 separate parties, all vying for the same seat of power, betraying each other. It's great stuff. It's something you never get to see in a Captain America book, and I love it. Steve and the others meanwhile journey to get the weapon Torvos mentioned, heading to the Devil's Forge for Bartand the Smith, who created the Anti-Divine, a weapon that could slay angels once Judgment Day rolled around. The group, however, wander into one of Bartand's traps, grabbed by magical chains, which even Doom's magic is not resistant to. The chains begin burning Veritok and Torvos, who knows the chains are forged from the oldest fires in Hell. But since they are of Hell, Steve is able to rip them apart, his touch melting them like nothing. Doom finds himself shocked that even his magic can't work on them, and Torvos uses the incident as yet another piece of proof that Steve is the Messiah, powered by righteousness, who will lead them out of the darkness. I'm really liking Torvos's embodiment of this real snake oil salesman preacher who's using every opportunity to try and sell Steve as a product that he has, so in turns he is looking to get some sort of investment back from Steve. In this case, he looks to want to become the ruler of Hell himself and use Steve, kind of like how Doom is using Veritok as like a puppet to get what he wants. It's a fun character to have in this group, and I just cannot wait till he gets his comeuppance, and you know it's coming. You know it's going to be wonderful when it does. Soon the team reach Bartand himself, and the giant winged demon demands to know who approaches his forge. Torvos immediately leads the charge, telling them that they need the Smith's aid, but Doom also threatens the Smith. Steve wants to defuse the situation, claiming that they are there for the Anti-Divine, wanting to use it to give the souls of Hell power over their own destinies again, offering the same to Bartand. The demon, however, attacks Steve with his giant axe, which thanks to Steve's divine power, he's able to catch with his hands. Steve hopes his strength lasts long enough to get him back home to his friends and to Sharon, as Doom blinds the demon with magic, causing the confrontation to spiral into an all-out fight. In the chaos, Steve takes the giant axe and smashes the plinth the Anti-Divine is on, allowing them to access the weapon. Doom rushes for the weapon, wanting to be the first to grab its power, but he finds it's already in the hands of Frenza, who removes her mask to reveal she is actually a Valeria von Frazen, Victor's old lover, whom he sacrificed to get magical power. So Valeria showing up here is a big surprise. This is like one of Doom's first sins when he was trying to become Dr. Doom and gain power. He sacrificed this woman to gain magical power and become Dr. Doom, more or less. And so she is like kind of like his original sin almost. And I like that she's now back, and she's obviously got a axe to grind with Victor, and that's gonna even further complicate the situation here. And I'm really looking forward to it. I didn't expect her to show up at all, so it's going to be really fun, and I'm looking forward to seeing what Zdarsky does with her. Captain America issue 13 continued Steve's adventure into Hell and did it with some excellent character work. It's great when Chip Zdarsky gets to write Spider-Man, even if it's just a little bit here and there, since it's very clear he loves the character so much, and using him as someone to come in and try and help Steve get better is just so great. It's a great use of that character. Steve's journey as an unwilling messiah in Hell is great and contrasts nicely with what we've seen of Dr. Doom and how he hungers for that power where Steve refuses it. I can't wait to see where Zdarsky takes this Hell setting and what he does with it as we inch closer to that confrontation with both Mephisto and Red Skull, and I cannot wait to see Steve's journey as he tries to get back home. I'm going to give this issue an 8 out of 10.